All right, thank you very much for staying here with us. And we're bringing you this morning's edition of Sport after a very big weekend of a lot of activity, from the FA Cup through to, the Women's FA Cup, through to the Black Stars. And, Isidra has been bugging me with a question. Isidra, what's your concern at this time?
My concern is how come Ghana did not qualify?
Okay, it's not.
What happened?
Okay, so this is it. I know you were expecting Ghana to qualify by now. Okay.
Yes.
So the situation is such that we needed a win to just seal it off for us. But at this point, we couldn't, secure the win. So we'll be explaining everything, on the table and how it's looking like. And we'll be doing some analysis as well. So,
okay. So explanation with diagrams.
Whatever be the case, we'll still drive down to Cote d'Ivoire, whether or not, because the Nations Cup is happening. Okay. And we will be there. Only that, we're entering a very, very interesting patch. So take a look at this. Okay, so Ghana is there, still up there, but with 9 points after 5 games, we've got 9 points. And we've got, Angola there in second place with 8 points. Now, Central African Republic have 7. Madagascar are a gone case. Okay. Now, Central African Republic, if they win the last game, then they'll go up to 10 points. If Angola wins the next game, they go up to what? To 11 points. Do you get it? So Ghana just needs, now it's become mandatory. It is a mandatory thing now for Ghana to win it. So we've encountered such situations before. And we just need a goal. No, well, if it's a goal and it's unanswered and it gets us the 3 points, fine. But it has to be a win. So if it's one goal that is going to get us the win and it's unanswered, or our opponents do not reply with an equalizer, then we can go. Unfortunately, we're having to get it into this kind of arrangement. When you look at some of the groups, you look at the likes of Tunisia, you look at the likes of Egypt, they've qualified, they're very safe. And now we have to deal with this first before we get into qualification. And then we start having the conversation about whether or not this is the time for Ghana to win a 5th Africa Cup of Nations title. It's a very, long
But how does it look for Ghana?
Look, it can be anybody's game. You see, what it is that in Africa, and like we've said over the period, in Africa, the minnows are learning. The nations that are not necessarily known for their football prowess are learning. So and these are some highlights from that game that was played. Everybody
so it was actually
is learning.
A draw.
Yes, it was a goalless draw game.
Yeah, goalless draw game. Okay.
You see, so this is the thing really, because everybody is expecting that once it's Ghana and it's a Madagascar. Madagascar is not really a trouble spot. But there they are. They held us before their home fans, and that was it. So let's go for the highlights.
Does Andrea Mahitsonoro pulls it wide.
Good effort there, pulled it wide. I thought he could have tried to go ahead of the defender there.
Space at the back post. Still an opportunity for the Madagascans. Abdallah getting in the way. They'll have another corner and they'll have to settle for that. But there was a really good chance for the left-sided fullback, Rabari Juwana. Still looking for his ball of his international career. It's not going to happen from that free kick either. Stop and turn from Salis Samed. First touch for Kudus. He's playing more of a central attacking midfield role. And look at the space he's been given.
Well, that's more of what we should have been seeing, them taking shots from distance. Haven't really tried the keeper there. We see a good shot being taken from distance. Kudus.
Long range effort. Oh, needed saving by Atizigi. That's a beautiful free kick.
A very difficult one, just bouncing in front of Atizigi there. Did ever so well. Keeps it low. Just bounces in front of the keeper.
Had to be saved off Amada. Amada now with the free kick. There's a header! Saved by Atizigi. And Madagascar are asking the questions. And I must say that Tantli Randianiana, the 34-year-old from Knaps who came on for his 30th cap, he's proving to be something of a threat alongside of Amada and Abdallah. Kapoza, oh, there's a little bit of space available here for Usman Bukhari. He's not going to get anything out of that though, and One has to take their hat off here for the debutante. Rakoto Hasimbola with the final gesture, maybe the final opportunity for Ghana. Goes low and flat, the header is away from the danger zone. Scudding shot from Pote, saved by Rakoto Hasimbola. And his clean sheet looms ever larger. Rakoto Hasimbola.
All right, so that was the situation for Madagascar holding Ghana. I mean, and you saw the reaction from the bench. I mean, some of the guys were almost celebrating. For them, I mean, they're not going to have a Nations Cup experience next year, you know, in Cote d'Ivoire. Yeah. But what is important is that they are recording these kinds of, results to boost their confidence as well. Because you see, away from form, confidence has a lot to do with it. All right, so I'll take us on to Zoom now and have a chat with Bismarck Owusu-Bempah, also known as Ayala, and he represents Insura Sports and Love Sports, and he did a lot of monitoring of this game and has got thoughts this morning as we look forward into the weekend. Look forward to the final round of matches as well, and hopefully that the Black Stars will qualify. Bismarck, good to have you here. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Nat, and thanks for having me.
Look, it's we had big expectations. There were those who told all of us to be cautious. We were cautious as well. But what will be your initial, comments on the general, output of the Black Stars in that game?
I think it's a deep source issue. And when I say deep source, what I mean is that, look, we went into the last AFCON and embarrassed ourselves. Now, realistically, the only trophy the Black Stars can win, that is major, is the AFCON. So I am very much interested in any FA and any government preparing the Black Stars to win the AFCON at any point in time. So I don't put premium on World Cups because it's a trophy we can't win, but we can win the AFCON. So from the last AFCON, the decision that we've taken about the Black Stars up to this point that we seek to qualify for the next one in Ivory Coast has been problematic, Nat. And that is the result that we are seeing. Now, that is my point. From the last AFCON, we came out sacking Milovan Radovac as our coach. We needed to take a decision that would have seen the long term of us preparing a team for the next AFCON. But we did appoint Otuado. I'm not talking about his competence. I'm talking about the project that we needed to entrust in him and the longevity of that project. Now, in the negotiations with Otuado, we came to meet the fact that this man cannot take us beyond the World Cup. We should have dumped him for someone who could have taken us through the World Cup at the preparatory grounds and give us a team that will be ready for the next AFCON. But we went through Otuado, Ghana all the experience of the World Cup in the name of rebuilding. Then Otuado left after the World Cup. It means we come to ground zero. Now we give the team to Chris, and that is what we are seeing. Now, for a lot of people, you are being so critical and they tell you, but Chris just came. You should give him time. That time has been wasted by Otuado already, and now we need to face it. So that is my initial comment. The Black Star that we are seeing now is a team that has a very, very short time to prepare and build for the next AFCON. And it is all because we wasted the time to rebuild after the last AFCON with the appointment of Otuado.
I was having a conversation with Ibrahim Sani Dara at the weekend on the Joy Sports Link on Joy FM, and he said something critical that for us in the media, we almost hardly do not focus on our opponents and what they're bringing to the table. A lot of the time, ahead of big games like these, we're always focusing on the Black Stars by default. And that also worsens the case when it comes to, having the public have a certain level of confidence in whether or not we'll win.
Yeah, it's true. But you see that the realistic view of this is that before we met Madagascar yesterday, they had only 1 point in the group. That is logic. That is being realistic. They are the whipping boys in the group. Now they have 2 points, and one of them is from the Black Stars. That is the point that we are making. Now look, today, Nigeria has qualified, Zambia has qualified, DR Congo has qualified. We could have qualified too with a simple win against Madagascar, who are last in our group. Now, I don't think we are stretching the argument if we say we should be able to beat a team like Madagascar, especially with the points built up in our group. So, yes, Stanley is right. Sometimes we overly look at our team and not our opponent and the strength that they bring on board. But this Blasters team is capable and should be capable of beating Madagascar and sealing qualification. Now we are up to do the calculations and take the game against Central African Republic in our last group game very, very seriously, because we need a resource in that game to make sure we seal qualification for the next AFCON. We are here because we couldn't beat Madagascar, and that is the issue.
All right. Yeah, so Esiedua has been bugging me with loads and loads of questions. There's one of them about like the calculations and the, tell me about it.
I'm actually interested in knowing what exactly do you think would happen for Ghana to qualify or to move forward in this competition? Because it looks like there are two other countries that is quite,
it's still looking very realistic for Angola.
Exactly. Two other countries from the same group.
Bismarck.
Realistically speaking, for Ghana, what do you think can be done or can they do to make sure that it's a win-win-win for us?
We just have to draw the game against Central African Republic to book qualification to the next AFCON. But our fear is that the last time we couldn't qualify for AFCON was in Tunisia 2004. And we ended up so because we had not been able to seal qualification till the last group game. And it was in Kigali against Rwanda. A game that everyone thought against Rwanda, we are supposed to beat them. But we lost the game 1-0 to Rwanda. And that meant we couldn't qualify for Tunisia 2004. And that was the last time Ghana failed to qualify for any AFCON. We've not been there before again after 2003 and not qualifying for 2004 in Tunisia. When I say we've not been there again, what I mean is that we've not gone through the qualifiers for the AFCON, and we needed the last group game to make sure of our qualification. We've not been able to do that. We've been spoiled by qualifying even with games to spare, and that is why we are agitated that we shouldn't have gotten to this point. We should have beaten Madagascar. And just as Chris Houghton said, he's disappointed in the results, and we are also disappointed.
Now, we need to start looking at the reality of the situation. Let's look at the squad now. It is always said that we're building, we're rebuilding. Isido was asking me about, she couldn't monitor the game yesterday, but she was asking me about how, whether we had a couple of guys in there, Partey in there, Kudus in there, and all of that. For you, how well are we doing regarding, the individual bright spots and the gelling? How good is it looking? Because we're still in a rebuilding phase, as it's said, technically.
Exactly, and that takes me back to the first point I was making. That, look, after the last AFCON, we were meant to believe that the squad that we have assembled for the World Cup have had great additions, players that have switched nationalities, players that were on board that we had to convince. So players like Salisu, Inaki Williams, and others came into the team and augmented the squad, Kama Asowa, and the rest. Now, when you see those players and their presence in our national team at the World Cup, what that gave you was hope that, look, we could rebrand the Blasters, change the team subculture, and build our team solidly with these new guys infusion in our team. And what that could afford us is to also have the transition of old players that they have lived their moment in the Blasters, fading out and bringing in these new guys. So that was the simple exercise that we needed to have done since the last AFCON. Now, as I said earlier, we took Otuado there. He played a game against Nigeria in those two playoffs. He made sure we qualified for the World Cup. When we went for the World Cup, we saw questions of between Amate, Jiku, Salisu. Are we playing the 3-back system? Are we playing 4-back? And if you are playing 4-back, which of the two partnership are we going to make sure that they build their familiarity and all that? Otuado said, okay, let's go with the Amate Salisu predominantly. So we built a strong centre-back partnership. Now at right back, we knew we had Dennis Odoi, we had Tariq Lamptey, who will be our first choice, with Ali Dusedu also coming in. Our left back, is it Baba Rahman, is it Gideon Mensah, or we play the versatile Ali Dusedu. So we've gone through these patches of trying to find a perfect combination of a very, very good blaster that we are building. When we come to the midfield, we used to have Baba Idrisu and Thomas Tepati playing war under Kosia Piasika, Kono, and even Otuado at a point in time. Then comes in Salid Abdul Samed, who have played very, very well in the French League. So are we changing it to a combination of Salis and Thomas Tepati with Kudus as our number 10? Or the best that we've gotten from Kudus throughout the national team is to push him further forward? So is Salis coming in? What's the chemistry that we are going to build in the engine room? Is Kudus best position in the team and number 10 or as a striker in any of the forward line? So we've gone through these things. We've gone through where to put Inaki, where must we put Antoine Semenyo, and the new guys that have come in. Now, my point is that whilst we went through that with a World Cup, we came and Otuado left, and it meant he had left with all the experiences, all the mistakes that he did, all the errors he could have corrected. And
so we should be charting a new path.
And he's Putin is buying us time, telling us we should relax. He's new. He's trying to find the gel. He's trying to find the cohesion. But we don't have time for the next AFCON, especially when we look at competition in Senegal, Egypt, and the rest of the team, Algeria, Morocco, that was able to make semi-final. We don't have time to win the next AFCON with this slow way of exercising our discretion and who to give the team to. And that is where we are having this conversation that is very, very belated for me because of the decisions of those who are in power.
Very well. Bismarck, thank you so much. Clearly, there is still a lot to talk about regarding the Black Stars and how we can, squeeze it through in this group, hopefully with a minimum of a draw in the next game. Isidwa, let's wrap this up. Women in Business is coming up.
Yes, Women in Business is coming up, but... Nat, you can't go away without saying something on the Women FA Cups.
Which team won briefly? Have won the double. Okay, they won the league, they've won the Women's FA Cup, and they beat Police Ladies as well. Greetings to all my friends at Ghana Police Service. Unfortunately, you couldn't win, but of course, they're runners up, so let's see. And we also need to salute our friends at Dreams FC. They beat King Faisal by 2-0 to win the MTN FA Cup. So we'll do some more discussions about those particular milestones by these two clubs, especially Mpimdakwa Ladies, who have taken the mantle from Hazakes Ladies and seem to be dominating this term. When they go for the Women's CAF Champions League, we hope that they can, replicate the excellence there.
Right.
Okay. So there we go. Mpimdakwa Ladies there enjoying their moments as champions of the Women's FA Cup after beating Police Ladies. Oh, interesting stuff, isn't it? Okay, so that's how we wrap it up here. There's still a lot more to discuss, but you can click on the sports page of myjoyonline.com for more. And I'll be back tomorrow to bring you another very big dose and another big conversation on sport.